What's going on? Tyler Roicki here. Welcome back to the vlog. And I wanted to just off the cuff, for those who are curious about what it takes to build a real estate organization from someone who's actually doing it. I'm gonna share just off the cuff here what I'm doing to attract agents into my business, which operates within eXp Realty. But I firmly believe if you apply these principles, no matter where you're building your real estate business, whether you're an independent broker or at some competitor, to put it nicely, if you apply the same principles, it's gonna work to attract people into your world if you have something worth joining. So off the cuff, I wanna start with this. I'm gonna flip this around and share my screen here, kinda. But what you'll see on the screen here is the result of an email I sent out yesterday. So I have an email newsletter, and I'm just gonna share this to make a point. I mean, you see the open rates, click-through rates, etc. But the bigger point of me sharing that is the fact that I'm building an email list, and that's a key component. That's like the foundation of my strategy going forward. And so some context, if you've seen anything else on the channel, you probably already know this, but for those who don't, I've personally attracted well over 100 agents personally over the last 8 years. And actually most of that's been out over the last 4 years, but I've ranked top 30 in the company for 3 years straight, if not 4 years straight. And it's gonna be another year this year. But regardless, I'm one of the top people out of 80,000 agents in my organization that personally brings people into the organization. I did that without the strategy is dialed in, is what I'm about to share with you here that I'm doing. So some insight. For one, it starts with building a database. So a year ago, I didn't even have a database, but I had a shift in mindset and strategy, and someone shared some insight with me that clicked and made sense, and it kind of brought some pieces together as far as what I knew that I would need to do to continue to grow and scale my business beyond what I had done. So in essence, I had built my organization without a database. Literally, my database a year ago was a spreadsheet I had been working off of for the years. So literally hundreds and hundreds of names on the spreadsheet, people that at some point or another I had contact with. I haven't even looked at it in the past year in terms of how many people are on it, but if I had to guess, it's probably closer to 1,000 people than it is to like 500. Yeah, probably 1,000 contacts on the spreadsheet between people I've actually had dialogues and conversation with throughout the years. And there's been more than that. That's just the people that ended up on the spreadsheet. From that, there's 100 plus people that joined me personally. Actually quite a bit more than 100, just basing it off of who's actively running with me at this point in time. So going forward, here's what's more important. What am I gonna do to build upon it, right? So it starts with building a database. So how do I get new contacts to the database? Well, there's an approach that I'll call the flywheel, but it's a multi-pronged approach. And it starts with generating new contacts. And I have the philosophy, I want to attract people in my world that want to have a conversation with me, that are predisposed to want to have a conversation with me, rather than someone that I'm like cold calling, chasing down, has no idea who I am. I'd rather someone like cause me to have a conversation with them than for me to be the one that initiates that out of nowhere and they did nothing to cause that. So it's the difference between chasing and attracting. I don't want to be chasing people. I've been there, I've done that. I want to be attracting people that want to have a conversation with me. And if that's too difficult, I don't want to talk with them, honestly. So it starts by putting an offer out into the marketplace. An offer is something that's compelling, that attracts more of the right people into my world, at least gives them an opportunity to take a next step with me. So at this point in time, I'm running an offer to attend a free training where I teach people about what is effective from a marketing standpoint. If you want to generate buyers and sellers in your local market who, just kind of like how I described, are predisposed to want to have a conversation with you, or you're attracting those contacts into your world versus cold outbound prospecting. So it's another way of saying digital marketing, generating leads on Meta, Google, what have you. But anyway, I have a class where I teach people how to do this. I share insights into exactly what my team and I are doing, how we approach it. Literally, someone could take the same exact ad copy, they could take the same exact steps, they could go apply it and see what happens as a result. But that's how people come into my world, and how that conversation starts is added value. The training is free. It doesn't cost anything to attend. That kind of gets people in my world, because from that point on, I have their contact info. I have their email. Effectively, they opted in to receive communication from me. So until when and if they ever opt out, I'm going to keep communicating with them. And that's a chance where I can invite them to more things in the future. And the more time they spend with me consuming my content, the more likely it is that they're gonna wanna have more of a conversation with me in the future as far as what else I can do to help. And part of my goal from the time I get someone's contact onward is to drop free value time and time again. So it starts with a weekly newsletter, and I just shared you that. Honestly, out of my emails, my weekly newsletter has the lowest open rate. What has even higher open rate is just like straight value add. Think of like a high value Instagram post you read. It's like, wow, you got some insight, you learned something from that, but without a picture. And that's what the emails I've begun sending in between the newsletters. So I do a weekly newsletter. If you want to know more about what that consists of, just drop me a comment, let me know. Maybe I'll share some more insight in the future on that. But in between, I'm just sharing nuggets, insights, things I learned. It might have been because I attended a conference, I had some takeaways there. I shared one the other day, what I learned in the past 10 years in real estate and some key lessons there. It's different than what I post on social media. So it's kind of exclusive content, but point is, I'm sharing value. I'm sharing things that if you read it and apply it, it genuinely will help the right person do something more productive, or at least have a productive thought that they could take and apply in their own business and life. And so that's part of the strategy, is the email and dripping the database with actual value. Literally no call to actions on the value add emails. The other aspect of my strategy is exactly what I'm doing right here. It's video, dropping longer form YouTube content, sharing insights, giving you an opportunity to take a next step with me, to reach out, to initiate a conversation based around something I could potentially help you with. But what you haven't yet seen is in the future, I'm gonna use more lead magnets, meaning I'm gonna have an additional piece of free value that you can consume for me, that you can download. In order to get it, I'm gonna need some contact info as far as where I can send it, an email address at the very least. And once I have that email address, I give you the free value. You basically paid me by giving me your email that I could send it to you, and now I can keep sending you more stuff to add more value. Why? Because I want to build that trust. I want to build that relationship through the content you consume. And the right people, they're the ones that are going to consume the content. Does everyone know? But some people, they consume something here and there. But my goal is that eventually, when they're thinking of taking a next step somewhere in a direction that I can help, that conversation, that door would be open to have a conversation with me. That's the whole goal. And then the third component of the strategy is social media. And that's the one I've been working hardest on the most, because it's like something I never get around to. I'm super introverted, so I'm even weird in terms of when it comes to social media. It's like I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm kind of like that with social media too. But pushing to get over that and just literally put the time into my week to make it happen, to make the post, because I can put some good creative content out there, high value. I can curate stuff decently. It's just making sure it actually happens beyond everything else on my schedule. There's never a point where I literally don't have anything to do. So it's just having to be intentional about making the time to actually do it. And I'll share that too, just some insight on that note. I've been more consistently than I've been in a really long time on social media. And guess what? It's causing me to have more dialogues with, more conversations with people that, even people I haven't spoken with in a long time. It's just sparking more conversations. But you see here, this is all recent stuff I've posted, and just a lot of it's value add. Like this, it's all value add. Same thing with this one especially. This was the 10 lessons I've learned in 10 years in real estate, going from 0 to top 10 in an organization of nearly 100,000 agents globally. So I put a lot of time into this post. I put a lot of thought into this post. And I know I know honestly anyone, if they're growth minded in real estate, if they read this, if you don't take something away from it, something might be wrong with your mindset. So that, or you're a lot further down the path than I am. Possibly. But anyway, that's why I'm growing. So the way it all ties together though is, one, new contacts coming into my world consistently, adding value every single week. Like Goal in the future, I'm not quite there now, but in the future, it's gonna be to add, like I wanna get to a point where I'm adding 100 new contacts to my world each week who are real estate agents in my target market, meaning they're productive, but they wanna do more. That's my target market. Because at this point in time, I'm somewhere, usually I'm between like 10 to 20 new contacts a week, depending on the week. It actually might be more, but I wanna get to a point where I'm consistently adding 100 new contacts to my world between these different avenues. Some of it's paid marketing, running ads to my training, potentially running ads to lead magnets in the future for added value, to get more people on my email list, to be in front of those people more often. At least, when I say that, at least 2 to 4 times a week. But really I wanna be more at 3 to 4 times a week is optimal for the email list. And then with YouTube to be putting out new videos, once a week is a bare minimum, but I wanna be at a point where it's very consistently 3 times a week. Again, all added value, giving people an opportunity to get insight on what they came for and then take a next step. And ultimately also building up the following on social media by people consuming my free content. So everything is literally free content and value, and offering people at different points in time a way to take a next step, to attend another training, to get in the right room with the right people, and to really take the relationship forward with me and how I can help them in the process. And by the way, social media, one of the key things I'm doing there is sharing social proof, showing that like, hey, what I'm sharing isn't theory. Here's, like, I have 100 examples of people I've helped, easily 100 examples, and I can share the story behind it. And if I did, it's an inspiring story. There's been times where like literally a year's gone by and I've shared maybe one story. That time is over. So going forward, for me, it's like, hey, we got to at least see 2 or 3 examples every single week of someone that I'm helping grow and develop, because that's how we can bring more people like that who are growth minded, who are looking to achieve more with their life into my world. And if we do that, then we're going to grow the organization, but not just me personally, but more importantly, it's something that others that are growth minded that want to build that organization can duplicate, between that flywheel, between the email, the weekly emails, building the database, between the YouTube and making that a consistent stream of content and value, and between the social media and constantly sharing posts, social proof, insights, and giving people an opportunity to take a next step when that time comes. So anyway, just off the cuff here, what I'm doing to build my agent attraction business and attract more productive agents into my world. I'm super excited because I got to where I was in large part without doing this at a high level, and I can only imagine where I'll be in the next 2 to 3 years executing this strategy I just shared with you at a high level. So hope you took something away. Drop in the comments if this is a big part of your business. If so, how far along are you in the process of building your agent attraction business? You know, how big is your group? How many agents have you personally attracted? Do you see yourself executing this strategy at a higher level? If so, where can I connect with you? I'd love to follow along your journey. And if there's any insights I can share with you that might be helpful, regardless of where you're at, even if you run your own independent brokerage, I'd love to support you and just know how I can share some insights that would help you grow your own business. So feel free to reach out, connect with me. But until next time, I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.